Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's meeting. As we gather in the light of consciousness and beyond in the divine abode of our soul, today I'm going to pose this question: how do I know that I am progressing on my path? And of course, we all need to pose these questions. So that's one question. And another question: what do I really desire or want in the afterlife? If you, it's not a, I don't even think it's a matter of belief, but if you need to believe in it, then some matter of afterlife is just a continuation of your consciousness, and consciousness can never be destroyed. So there is an afterlife of this database that you have been assembling for many, many, many lifetimes. So, what do you desire in the afterlife? It's a very important question. And how do I know I'm progressing on this path? First of all, there is the fire of the soul, the light that is ever calming, this individuated spark of the divine back to its true abode. And when you have from time to time sparks or tastes of the divine Amrit, the dew of this divine being, that's Amrit, then that actually gives you even more fervor, more of a pull to just connect to the divine. And I'll now pose a sub question. Do you have a tendency to connect to the divine moment to moment? Is it in the quality of your beingness to connect to the divine moment to moment? And the divine is not something elusive, and the divine is not something you need to believe in. And I would ask you not to believe in the divine, because true spirituality is direct embodiment of the divine. If you're at the level of belief, that's a little bit of anemic. And then now I'm going to go into the inquiry of how do I know that I'm progressing on the path? And as we are doing conscious sadhana, spiritual practice, it could be in the form of, can be many things. It could be a karma yoga in terms of serving others without expecting anything in return. It could be bhakti yoga, which is the adoration of the divine through song, for example, or it is also just an attitude of life, the bhakti of the divine, being the divine, the servant of the divine. And then we have jnana yoga, which is the inquiry through scripture. These are the three major veins in Sanatana Dharma, in the Hindu spiritual tradition. But these can be found in any other, even the mystical Christian traditions as well. And I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about an attitude that we take up in our life in order to have that immediate remembrance. And when we have the remembrance, then we have immediate access. Because the divine is not outside of you. The divine is one with you. And so how do I know I'm progressing on this path is that through these practices, it could be the practice of a certain mantra, a practice of a certain kriya, a practice of a certain, yogic asana exercises, but also service, singing. They lead you, they guide you towards looking at more and more and more towards subtlest forms of light, of an emanation. So look at the gradation of light. Just tune into yourself. For example, you wake up and you're at a certain age, and a lot of people who have not been able to deconstruct their denser emotions, feelings, thoughts, they would start whirling in your field as soon as you wake up. You wake up, and then due to high levels of cortisol, stress hormone, you start whirling in the identification of your samskaric imprinting. This would be called samskaras, the imprints of your psychosomatic programming. Okay, those are the samskaras. And so through your spiritual practice, and I'm going to give you a technique today, we can start releasing and unhooking ourselves from these patterns. And then as you are able to unhook from these major looping patterns, you're able to tune into subtler and subtler forms of your nature. Because your true nature is nothing to be yearned for or longed after in the truest sense, because it's always here. It's the analogy of like the fish always misses the fact that it's already in water, so it's in permanent search of water. Yes, it's the same thing for a human to be searching for the divine, because the divinity had manifested already as you, as each one of us. It just depends on what level of light you're able to grasp your true nature. And believe me, the psychological personality is not your reality. And I know you heard that before. But knowing that is not going to help. So, how do you know that you're progressing on your path? Is first of all that you have the capacity to stay with your emotional, mental pain that is caused by a form of encrustation of your ego personality. This path is just and solely the path of becoming impersonal. The ego does not like that. And the more we can very gently, but with prowess, allow the ego to be drenched in the light of the divine, it lets go. It allows you to truly merge with who you truly are, and it no longer poses an obstacle. But it cannot happen through force, it cannot happen through the mind. That's why devotion is such a uniquely direct way, bhakti yoga. And some say that Kriya Yoga is between bhakti and jnana. It's between the path of studying the scriptures and the devotional path. That's Kriya Yoga. So how do I know I am progressing on the path? Is that I am able to see and attune to more pure and subtle realms of light. That's how you know. So, for example, you have a palette in front of you. I'm going to give a very kind of crude example. You have a buffet, and at that table, we have McDonald's, our anger, attachments, jealousy, fear, victimhood. And then we have better foods, overcooked foods, but still homemade overcooked foods. We move up on the scale, and then we are refining as we go along. We're refining our palate. And our body starts craving purer and purer and purer foods and less food. And it's the same thing with your soul. Because those who have been attuned to higher frequency foods, let's say just freshly harvested from a farm, they would not be pulled into McDonald's. Everything serves its own purpose. I am not saying I am posing a hierarchy, but I am just telling you that there is an attunement that is happening. And sometimes people on the path brush over the subtle changes that are taking place in their reality. And yes, it's easier to notice that now I crave much less fried foods as opposed to 2 years ago. That's easier to notice. But when we actually up level on our spiritual journey, it's sometimes our reality gets destabilized and we may even doubt ourselves more. But these are all signs of up leveling, that you are being drawn more and more into this higher, purer frequency of the light. And then the obvious ways that you would know that you are actually progressing on the path is that you take life less and less seriously, but less and less personally as well. Not to say that you don't care about people around you or you do not care about just service or you know completing your task. That's not what I'm saying, but you are not taking things so heavily and you're not thinking that life is an affront to your person. Even like a crude example of even if your lover leaves you or a friend or you get fired, you do not automatically say, oh, well, it's because I'm not good enough or I'm lacking or something's wrong with me. You have a wider breadth and expansive beingness that can be with the good, with the mediocre, and with the bad. That's how you know. Or let's say something according to your ego, like something really taxing, bad happens to you. Yes, you're a person, you're going through the turmoil, but you stand up and neutralize that state faster. That's another sign. A beautiful sign, another one that you're progressing on your path, on your spiritual path, is that your attitude towards people changes. And a friend of mine who just called me, she says, have you noticed that you're with friends and those are your old friends and you love them and you meet them after a long time, and that intensity, that emotional connection is not there. There's just neutrality there. There's not such, the emotional heart's involvement is not as overwriting everything. And I agree with that. Like how or your triggers, look at your triggers. If your triggers are witnessed, you may be drawn into the trigger on a day-to-day basis, but you recognize and correct. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. And now just pose this question. Okay, what do you want in your afterlife? Once this body is dropped, this is a very important question. Once this body is dropped, what would you like? There's an interesting story of a Zen monk who was observing a deer in the forest and said, I just want this simplicity. I want this unraveling of like pure, immediate life. Just like It's manifested through this deer in the forest. Very simple, very peaceful. And that's what he came back as in his next life. I love these Buddha stories. So what do you want after in the afterlife? Do you want to truly merge in the abode of your soul? Do you want to live in 5D? By the way, in 5, 6, D, it's not heavenly. There's still duality in those realms. Or do you want to go to some galaxy? Or do you just truly want the ultimate, supreme, divine abode of your soul? And of course, this is not really a mental question, but ponder it. What do I want? So we are going to start zooming into our spines. And today we are going to practice, which I have introduced before. Mantras are ways of conducting our mind, and the mind runs and creates stories around energies. So we're going to use this bija sound, root sound of Ram. And in the Hindu tradition, Ram was, of course, used by Krishna. The Ram, God, Hanuman actually always served Ram. But we are moving into the originating quality of Ram. It doesn't have its roots in the Vaishnava tradition only, which is the Krishna tradition. Ram. And I'm just going to instruct you that Ram harmonizes the lower 3 chakras, which are connected very much with your experience of this physical, energetic reality. First 3 chakras, the root chakra, sacral, solar plexus. And ultimately, Ram has also this potentiality of harmonizing the feminine and masculine principle in your crown. It's a very, very strong practice that can automatically harmonize these polarities so that you move beyond duality. So we're going to work with the purification of the lower 3 centers, but not just by riding energies. This is not our purpose. Move into the back body and especially your spine. And from the back side, you're just calling your awareness, your presencing your field. And know that your awareness contains also your body. And you're familiarizing yourself with the palette of energetic fluctuations, from dense, coarse fluctuations all the way to the subtlest one. Because our minds are very slow. They are very mechanical and they zoom into coarse fluctuations, like a physical pain or emotional pain, mental pain, sensations of hunger. And we're moving to lighter and purer awareness. We're not negating the denser forms. So become the site where your body takes place, which means expand your awareness much past the body. Your awareness also includes your body, it includes your house, it includes the sky. And just see if you're able to stay with all the sensations that you're feeling. You might even be tapping into the collective busyness or the unconscious fluctuations of present energies. And see how just this exercise, as you're peeling yourself away from this tight zoom, your familiar zoom, where do you familiarly zoom into? Do you zoom into the pain of your body, the limitations? Do you zoom into your mental field, emotional field? And you're widening the zoom. It's very important. And zoom into the third eye. It is the abode of your soul. And as you're zooming into your third eye, you're noticing this sun, golden light. And through this space, you're familiarizing yourself with your own central channel. your own unique central channel from up above, all through your head, through your spine. There's one central channel of your unique energetic imprinting, soul imprinting. As you're feeling your central channel, program it to return to your original sovereignty, original energetic sovereignty. Feel your spine, your central channel from the vantage point of your third eye. This is a multitasking. You feel your entire central column, but at the same time, you also feel your third eye. It's not either or, it's both. That's it, much better. Strengthen. Just ask yourself from this vantage point, what would you desire after you drop this body vessel? What do you desire? And also allow yourself to be with all the feelings and sensations that are coming up, that are being witnessed right now by this impersonal being as your awareness. As we connect to the divine light and sound current, it's this immense light cascading through from up above, through your crown, through your spine, filling your body. And we're going to program this cascading light because the light itself has a sound. And obviously, this is called an unstruck sound. Unstruck, it's still a sound. It's not really audible by ordinary consciousness. And just feel the vibrations as you're saying, and say it silently. Program this stream of light and sound by using the mantra Ram, Ram, Sat, Nam. You don't need to say it aloud. feel that the field is actually resonating the sound. It's connecting you to the very abode of your soul. Ram, Ram, Sat, Nam. This is just a tuning fork. You're using the mantra as a tuning fork. And the current started pulling us up. You feel this upward spiraling as you're resounding this frequency of Ram, Ram, Satna. Just feel how natural this is. This attunement to the divine sound and light current. You're tuning this current to remove our lower desires, remove our blindness, and attune us to the purity of the divine realm, the divine home. The divine home is always here right now. You just need to remember and attune. See this current pulling you up. And you give it permission. The Nam is the divine name, the unstruck sound that everything is made of. Ram, Ram, Sat, Nam. How ready are you to dissolve in the fire of the soul? Forgive and be forgiven. As Yeshua said, I am one with my Father. It is reality, it's not wishful thinking. I am one with my Father. Allow your root to be pierced through and pulled up. Sacral, pierced through and pulled up. Solar plexus, pierced through and pulled up. We are moving upward through the vertical axis. The vertical light axis. Your heart pierced through, pulled out. Here you find the divine cave. As in devotion, as a bhakta, you offer your heart to the divine. The divine can be saguna or nirguna, with form or without form. Ideally, you're moving from form to formless on your path. The light entering your throat and pulling it up. This is your connection to your inner teacher, inner guidance, antaryami, higher self guidance, monad guidance, guru tattva, and beyond. Feel the pulling force from your root to your throat. Third eye, pierced through and being pulled up. Crown, pierced through and pulled up. Do not forget the sound training. Ram, Ram, Satnam. See this reverberating in this stream of light. Purifying you. If you only have a vague remembrance, like a mustard seed, the sigh from your past lives and past attainments, you return to the light. Where you and your Father are one. So you start meandering blindly in the game of Maya, taking this eternal lila, divine play, for the only reality. I mean, even the game of I was once enlightened and I lost it is a game, a movement from oneness to separation, and then from separation to oneness back. That's called the prodigal son, finding the Father. If you can detect this current upward, where is it a little bit sluggish? Tune into that. And just reverberate the sound of Ram, Ram, Satnam. Anything you lose on this pathless path is fated so that you can rise. You only you lose that which you need to purify and leave behind. The divine abode is still. May all souls find the divine abode and merge in the ocean of pure love. So it